and of course some underlying biology. We've now seen that political orientation is usually stable and internally consistent across a range of disparate issues, and that it is typically merely one manifestation of a package of cognitive and affective style. Stepping deeper, what are the biological correlates of differing political orientations? Back to the insular cortex and its role in mediating gustatory and olfactory disgust in mammals and in mediating moral disgust in humans. Recall from the last chapter how you can reliably stoke hatred of thems by making them seem viscerally disgusting. When people's insulae activate at the thought of thems, you can check one thing off your genocide to-do list. This recalls a remarkable finding. Stick subjects in a room with a smelly garbage can, and they become more socially conservative. If your insula is gagging from the smell of dead fish, you're more likely to decide that a social practice of an other that is merely different is, instead, just plain wrong. This leads to a thoroughly fascinating finding. Social conservatives tend toward lower thresholds for disgust than liberals. In one study, subjects were exposed to either positively or negatively charged emotional images, and galvanic skin resistance, GSR, an indirect measure of sympathetic nervous system arousal, was measured. The biggest autonomic responses to negative, but not positive, emotional images were in conservatives opposed to gay marriage or premarital sex, while GSR response was unrelated to non-social issues like free trade or gun control. Concerns about hygiene and purity sure predict valuing of sanctity. Related to that, when confronted with something viscerally disturbing, conservatives are less likely to use reappraisal strategies, e.g., when seeing something gory, thinking, "This isn't real, it's staged." Moreover, when conservatives, but not liberals, are instructed to use reappraisal techniques, e.g., try to view the images in a detached, unemotional way, they express less conservative political sentiments. In contrast, a suppression strategy, "don't let your feelings show when you're looking at this image," doesn't work. As we saw, make a liberal tired, hungry, rushed, distracted, or disgusted, and they become more conservative. Make a conservative more detached about something viscerally disturbing, and they become more liberal. Thus, political orientation about social issues reflects sensitivity to visceral disgust and strategies for coping with such disgust. In addition, conservatives are more likely to think that disgust is a good metric for deciding whether something is moral, which recalls Leon Kass, the bioethicist with the ice cream licking issues. He headed George W. Bush's bioethics panel, one that, thanks to Kass's anti-abortion ideology, greatly restricted embryonic stem cell research. Kass has argued for what he calls the wisdom of repugnance, where disgust at something like human cloning can be the emotional expression of deep wisdom beyond wisdom's power completely to articulate it. The visceral level, with or without post hoc rationalization, is all you need in order to know what's right. If it makes you puke, then you must rebuke. The monumental flaw is obvious. Different things disgust different people, whose gag reflex wins. Moreover, things once viewed as disgusting are viewed differently now. E.g., the idea of slaves having the same rights as whites would probably have struck most white Americans circa 1800 as not just economically unworkable, but disgusting as well. It's disgusting, the things people weren't disgusted by in the past. Disgust is a moving target. Thus, issues anchored in the insula help explain differences in political orientation. This point will be returned to in Chapter 17.